This video is brought to you by worldsaquarium.org, blogging to save the sea. Minerva's Baja Tackle, simply the best since 1976. Pisces Sport Fishing Fleet in Cabo San Lucas. Rocky Road Outfitters from Park City, Utah, made in the USA. This video was also crowdsourced via Indiegogo with the sale of our Vaquita t-shirt. Thanks to all who sponsored our video and bought a t-shirt. This week's World's Aquarium San Carlos TV special expose is being filmed in the small community of San Felipe in the northernmost reaches of the Sea of Cortes. San Felipe is right on the front lines in the battle to save the world's most endangered marine mammal, La Vaquita Marina. Vaquita Marinas are not dolphins. They don't rocket out of the water and do spectacular jumps, nor ride the bow waves of boats like their bottlenose and spotted dolphin brethren. Their numbers have dwindled to so few that they are never seen in groups of more than 2 or 3. Very much different from this image of common dolphins filmed close to Loreto in southern Baja California. Vaquitas are harbor porpoises that live solitary and reclusive lives. So solitary, in fact, that many commercial fishermen who fish the very same waters where Vaquita can be found have never seen one. ¿Has visto una vaquita marina en tu vida pescando aquí? No, nunca, nunca. ¿Has visto una vaquita marina?
No, la he visto pero en fotos y en videos. En el mar no me ha tocado ver ni una vaquita marina en 40 años que tengo pescando. 38 años que tengo pescando.
And vaquita numbers have plummeted since the late 1990s, when there were over 500 of them. There may be now as few as 100 left in the entire world. And they all live in a small section of the northernmost reaches of the Sea of Cortes, between San Felipe and Puerto Penasco. The funny-looking striped blue area is the Vaquita Refuge, a strictly enforced no-fishing zone that the Mexican government spends a great deal of time and money to keep well-marked with dozens of large yellow and red buoys. Even trying to take a picture of a Vaquita Marina is no easy task. Until just a few years ago, there were virtually no decent pictures of a live Vaquita Marina. Tom Jefferson has been trying to change all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sort of an interesting situation that the range of this species is so small, and it's obviously very unusual for probably any kind of mammal species, but in particular for a marine mammal species, where usually they range over, thousands, millions of square kilometers. And this species, the range is so small that you can stand, you can't stand on top of Rocas Conseg because you can't get there. But if you could get on top of Rocas Conseg and stand on top of that island, you would be able to look out and you'd be able to see the entire range of the species within your field of view by spinning around 360. And that's, as far as I know, that's pretty much, there's no other situation like that in the world where a marine mammal species can have its entire range viewable from one spot.
It's no mystery what's driving La Vaquita Marina to the brink of extinction. You simply have to walk around San Felipe and look inside any of the number of pongas that you'll see here on the beach, in trailers, in people's backyards. It's gill nets. La Vaquita Marina, they get caught in gill nets and they die. It's that simple. Which fishery has the highest mortality for Vaquita? Is it the shrimp fishery, Corvina, the illegal Totuaba fishery? What is it?
Now, currently, it depends how you consider it. Shrimp has the bycatch estimate would be, I think, 13 vaquitas per year. But if you add all the finfish fisheries, then it's higher than shrimp. Basically, any gill that you put in the water is going to have incidental catches.
Okay. One of the ways the government and NGOs have tried to mitigate the incidental bycatch of vaquitas in the very lucrative shrimp fishery is with the design of a new trawl net nicknamed El Chango.
Mira, cuando el gobierno nos hizo la proposición de que si nos cambiábamos a trabajar con chango, nosotros aceptamos porque antes, cuando nosotros trabajábamos el camarón con chango, con los changos tradicionales que usábamos, agarrábamos mucho camarón, era redituable. Cuando ya el gobierno nos trae el chango y empezamos a trabajar con él, vimos que traía muchos cambios. y entonces la producción mermó un 60%. En aquel tiempo con los changos tradicionales agarraba 50 kilos, con estos agarras 10, 15. Agarras menos fauna de acompañamiento, pero merma mucho la cantidad de camarón que agarrábamos con los changos tradicionales. Entonces nosotros nos hicimos la reconversión, nos cambiamos, porque creímos que iban a ser changos tradicionales los que usábamos antes.
Shrimp fishermen have until 2016 to convert to this new technology, but while in San Felipe, we found only one example of the net, and only 48 fishermen out of the hundreds that fish here have begun the reconversion process to this new style of fishing. The Department of Mexican Fisheries, Conapesca, has also been very slow in getting the permits out to fishermen, and many fishermen themselves are reluctant to change their style of fishing to the more Vaquita-friendly nets.
The best gear to fish in the upper Gorge, or probably anywhere, are gill nets. I mean,
it's the most effective, obviously.
It's the most effective. So older fishermen know how to use and know how to really fish, but the young fishermen, it's not Chalonga's case.
Yeah.
I mean, you just go, if you can drive a panga, then you can fish. So drive the panga, put it in the water, the net. Sit down, have a beer, smoke.
or whatever.
Or whatever. And just bring it up, and that's it. But this one, you have to know how to fish, and you have to know where the fishing grounds really are. Otherwise, it won't work. So fishermen are not happy because it implies more work for them.
One thing that struck me when I first started walking around the Malecón here in San Felipe is the fact that you cannot find any information whatsoever about La Vaquita Marina. There are no monuments on the Malecón. Huh? There's no monuments here on the Malecón to La Vaquita Marina. There's no T-shirts at any of these tianguis about the Vaquita Marina. There's absolutely no beautiful silver earrings or bracelets or necklaces. There's just absolutely no information whatsoever about La Vaquita Marina. When you go, you can't even find the Office of the National Park Systems here. CONAMP, which is the agency that's in charge of managing the national parks throughout all of Mexico, their office is completely hidden inside a building with absolutely no signs whatsoever. So I was amazed that there's not much information here about La Vaquita Marina. That's something I'm surprised that the government hasn't rectified. The other thing the government has completely failed at is convincing local fishermen that Vaquita Marina are worth saving. When you ask older local fishermen if they believe that vaquitas even exist, this is the kind of response you always get.
Sí, es complicado.
Los biólogos nomás se fijan en lo que dicen, la vaquita se está extinguiendo. Pues a mí me vale si se extingue, yo tengo que vivir.
Ajá, sí.
Porque el pescado no se está extinguiendo.
¿Tú has pescado?
Sí, poquito, pero nunca me ha tocado ver una vaquita marina.
¿En cuántos años? ¿En cuántos años?
50 años.
Entonces, ¿no crees que vive una...?
Pues yo necesito verla.
Pero no has visto las fotos,
nunca,
ni los... No has visto las fotos, ni los videos, ni nada de eso.
Nada.
Pues aquí en la oficina de CONAMP tienes el Francisco un chingo de fotos y videos de vaquita.
Esa es, pero está bien lejos.
Pero pues dicen que esa es, pero para saber.
¿En serio?
¿Existe o no existe la vaquita? Este le pone la postura que no es cierto que existe.
En serio, creen en serio, porque vamos a hablar en serio, no chistes, ¿no? ¿En serio crees que no existe la vaquita?
Pues yo hasta la fecha no la conozco ni he visto.
No, esa no es la pregunta. ¿En serio crees que vive o no vive?
Y le pregunta a cualquier pescador, que si le haya visto. Hay personas que tienen toda su vida aquí.
Ajá.
Y no la...
Pero aunque que no han visto, eso no significa que no existe, ¿verdad?
Pues no, pero ¿y por qué sí existe?
Porque yo he visto fotos, he visto video. Y yo creo que el video no está editado, no es un efecto especial de Hollywood, no es...
Aquí vinieron una vez y ellos me dijeron, no, mira, esta es la vaquita. No, pues esta es la vaquita. Pero se miraba bien lejísimo, como aquí al poste.
Sí.
Entonces ese video para mí no cuenta.
And the main reason fishermen like to say that Vaquita Marinas don't exist is that admitting their existence means giving up areas where the fishing is very good. And fishermen don't want good fishing areas off limits, which is exactly what the Vaquita Reserve has accomplished. It has limited the area where fishermen can now fish.
Yo he oído pescadores que todavía dicen que piensan que tal vez no existe la vaquita marina. Dime qué piensas.
Pues es una lástima que piensen así, no piensan nada más en su beneficio, sin considerar que la vaquita es un ser vivo, ¿no? Mamífero que también merece vivir. Sí hay vaquitas marinas, me consta. No las he mirado vivas, pero me consta que sí hay, porque las que han matado accidentalmente en las redes, porque regularmente la muerte es accidental porque se meten a pescar a su hábitat, las hemos mirado. Yo a mí me tocó guardar algunas en mis cuartos fríos que me llevan ya decomisadas, que se encuentran tirados de la Profepa, me las llevan a guardar a mí. Y yo las he guardado en mi congelador por tiempo y después las regalan a casas de estudio, ¿no? Como CICESE o algo así por ahí, ciencias marinas, no sé exactamente. Pero sí hay vaquita marina.
I read once an article, when you make changes in communities, the most traditional and difficult communities to accept changes are fishermen, more than farmers or other type of traditional way of getting food from Mother Earth. And I don't think there would be anything to convince them unless, and we talked to other fishermen, and we have those who changed told us, one, it's good for the environment, two, we don't want to have a boycott on shrimp, like tuna, dolphin issues.
Yeah.
So those guys got the message some way, and that was because the previous head of fisheries went to San Felipe and told them there could be a boycott to the Mexican shrimp.
Ramon Corral told them that?
Yeah, I don't think that's the case, but anyway, that's what he told them, and many fishermen said, well, we don't want to get into that, and they don't want to get in trouble with other fishermen from other areas, because it would be hard to say which is from the upper Gulf, which one is from other areas. So.
Yeah.
So I think there's a limit to how much they will accept it, unless if there's a tragedy, and then they will accept making all the changes. Now, all over the world, fishermen will not accept that vaquita exists, and one fisherman in private told me if I give him money, he would accept that. They have caught vaquitas, but I mean, it's also true. It's a rare event to catch a vaquita. It's nothing that happens anytime you go out. It's we did an estimate. I can't remember, but it's really a low possibility to catch a vaquita.
Right, with the hundreds and hundreds of nets being cast on a daily basis, yeah, it must be a pretty low percentage, obviously, but still low enough to drive the population to extinction, obviously.
Yeah, but they will never recognize, and that's been the case with other fishermen and in other areas around the world. So,
you need to take into consideration another thing. In the different groups that we have participated, we have been asked to provide scientific information to fishermen. So we need really to find ways, an education that we do not have, to try to communicate science to people that is not scientists. Yeah. And it's really difficult, but we have tried it.
Right.
But in addition to these groups where the government meets with the fishermen community, you have the leaders of the fishermen there. So another problem that you need to consider is how these leaders transmit the information to all the community. Are they really informed of what is happening in these meetings or not?
Yeah.
Because we have not control of how the fishermen community communicates with the leaders.
Sure.
So that is also a problem.
That's a big problem. If you guys had unlimited budgets and you had all the money in the world to spend, what would you do right now that isn't being done? What do you think you could do now that isn't being done?
I would say that if you tell fishermen by 2060 we're going to close all fisheries with gill nets, and here are all the resources for you to design the equipment, experts in engineers in fisheries or in fishing gear, but by 2014 I would close it. But here are all the resources you need to develop them. I'll bet you that they will come with a best design. And there's experience when Eskimos in Alaska were bringing to extinction bowheads. I think the U.S. government told them something similar. By some date, I'm going to close us. They created the Eskimo Whaling Association, hire scientists, and now it's a success story. Towheads have recovered, and our population growth is tremendous. So I think that it's what I would do.
Okay, I've just arrived here at the marina in San Felipe at the office of Profepa. Profepa is Mexico's version of the EPA and Fish and Game all wrapped up into one. I've literally spent over a month coordinating with the Director of Communications in Mexico City to arrange an interview with the delegado of Profepa, and they finally gave me authorization. I came here to San Felipe, and the delegado is on vacation. So I will not be able to interview the delegado here in San Felipe. As a matter of fact, they won't even let me in the gate, and they won't allow me to take any pictures of any of the inspection boats that are inside the gate. I don't know why, but here we are. What you see directly behind me are these long yellow buoys. They mark the Vaquita Refuge, which is a strict no commercial fishing zone. The other thing that you see of note behind the fence are the tremendous number of gill nets here. These gill nets were confiscated within the Biosphere Reserve, and it shows good news and bad news. The good news is Profepa must be doing their job. There's a lot of nets here. The bad news is there must be a tremendous amount of illegal fishing still going on within the Biosphere Reserve. Now, when you look closely at the nets, you'll see some of these nets are for shrimp. Other nets are for Corvina and Sierra. And most likely, I suspect, the great number of nets behind here were probably confiscated in the illegal Totoaba fishery. These were the questions we had for the delegado here in San Felipe. The delegado is not here. It is impossible to discuss Vaquita conservation without discussing La Totoaba. Old photos of Totoaba abound on the walls of restaurants and in the photo albums of amateur historians throughout San Felipe. The story of Totoaba is nothing if it is not the story of man's greed and lack of vision for the future. In the 1920s, these 100 to 300 pound giants were so plentiful you could fish them from the beach. These behemoths were fished solely for their air bladders, the remaining meat of the fish left to rot on the beach. To make a long, sad story very short, by 1976, Totoaba were placed on the endangered species list, but to this day, Totoaba are still being illegally fished for their air bladders, which are sold in the Asian food markets and are usually made into a soup, which is considered a delicacy with the potential of increasing fertility and vitality in those who consume it. In April of 2013, in the small port entry town of Calexico, $3.6 million worth of Totoaba air bladders were confiscated by investigators from U.S. Customs and Border Protection and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service from a safe house there. One air bladder alone can be worth between $1,500 and $10,000, so it is no wonder why they are heavily exploited to this day, and the gill nets that capture Totoaba are killing vaquitas far faster than they can reproduce. If there is any irony in any of this, it's that the salvation of the vaquita will surely cause the extinction of the gill net in the upper Gulf. The latest and fifth report from CERVA, the International Committee for the Recuperation of La Vaquita, has just been published. CERVA is sponsored by the U.S. Marine Mammal Commission, CONAMP, Mexico's National Parks Commission, and the World Wildlife Fund, and the news from their July 2014 meeting in Ensenada is not good. The graphs from the report tell the whole story. The blue dots on this graph represent recommendations from the International Whaling Commission, and the red dots from CERVA. The recommendations are always the same. Remove gill nets from the range of La Vaquita. Should the Mexican government refuse to act on the recommendations from the International Whaling Commission and CERVA and not immediately ban gill nets from the upper Gulf, then time will almost certainly have run out for La Vaquita Marina. We're here at beautiful Isla San Benedicto in the Revillagigedos Islands, a couple hundred miles south of Cabo San Lucas. And the boobies behind us that live here at the Revillagigedos don't seem to mind us filming this episode. So anyway, thanks for watching the video this week. If you enjoyed this video and would like to know when we upload new videos and documentaries and special reports, go to our website, worldsaquarium.com, and sign up for the newsletter. And I think that's about it. Am I supposed to say something else? And con el favor de Dios, we do hope to see you next week.